sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I wake again.
Hello and welcome to Wellness Tuesdays here in the Wisdom Clinic. I am Nadira Lewis, author and coach, and I am here with Herbal Naturopath Sharmane Harrison, and we are excited to be able to share with you today something really important that Sharmane and I have been talking about and discussing: how to upgrade your health naturally. And Sharmane is here to help us to be able to do that. So let's welcome Sharmane. Welcome to Wellness Tuesdays. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Doing good. How was your Labor Day weekend?
It was fine. It was nice. Yeah, it's nice and peaceful, relaxed, didn't do too much. It's hot out here, so
Peaceful is always a good thing. If you can have a peaceful day during any holiday or regular day, that's always a good thing. So we are so glad to have you as always. But talk to us about how we ought to upgrade our health. How are we going to do that?
Alrighty. Well, for you guys viewing for the first time, I am Sharmane, my herbal naturopath. So I help to deliver people from a state of just like toxins and into natural wellness. Okay, so and I do that because one of the reasons I was diagnosed myself at the age of 28 years old in 2017 with a condition that affected my skin. It left my skin 95% pigmented. Now, it's a condition called lichen planus, and also my hair was falling out. I was experiencing mouth pain, body pain, lesions on my skin. It itched so bad that it would bleed. And I was diagnosed by a dermatologist. It was called lichen planus. And with lichen planus, less than 2% of the world's population is diagnosed, the whole world, not just the United States, but the whole world. So that's a pretty, it's still a lot, but it's still, small, And the biggest thing about that journey that I found out, back then when I was dealing with it, I didn't realize there were things that I was doing personally that led up to what caused my body to basically have an excess of toxins and waste and things like that in it. I looked at it from an external. I thought it happened overnight. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know that my part, of what I was doing in my life played a role. I just thought one day I woke up and my hair was falling out and my skin was acting crazy. That's just what I thought happened. So the biggest thing, I was able to take myself from dealing with that to actually healing. So what I do is I help people, go from dealing with illnesses to healing themselves, helping them heal themselves. And also I was diagnosed with a lot of conditions being in the military also. So I have my fair of dealing with chronic illnesses. And so that's why I'm here today to talk to you all about the things I didn't know when I was going through my illness and things like that. I just thought magically I was going to wake up one day and hopefully I was going to be fine. But, that's not how life works. So definitely. So some things that you're able to do today, because I do get this, and I want to say this before I begin. The reason that I'm talking about this tonight, because as an herbal naturopath, what ends up happening is after explaining to people that delivering themselves from illness is a process, they often, they can't really see that light at the end of the tunnel. They're just like, what do you mean it's a process? What can I do right now? What are some things I can do right now to upgrade my health and wellness? So that's what brought tonight's topic about. So I'll be giving you some things that you are able to implement right now that's realistic. It's not extreme. I frequently speak about the detox process. So if you guys know me, you know that I always talk about the cleansing, the detoxing, and then the repairing of the body, the process that the body has to go through. Now, I talk about these things because it's super important that you do go through that process. You have to go through that process, especially if you're dealing with a chronic illness. When you're dealing with a chronic illness, your blood is affected, your liver, your kidneys, everything starts to play a role. So it's not just one thing, it's not one thing that you target and things like that. And you want to make sure that you're working from the inside out when you're dealing with sickness or illnesses, or being able to push that waste out of your body. That makes sense?
Definitely.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, you all know me, but before we go into this whole nice and pretty, put it together, here go the solutions, and y'all are good to go. Yeah, that's not how I work. That is not how I work. I often say you have to wander through the wilderness to heal by nature. Healing is not a pretty process. Okay. So I always say that. And the wilderness, like, Sharmane, what's the wilderness? The wilderness is the here and now. The wilderness is where you're at right now in your overall health. If that's something, if you are unhappy, if you're dealing with like overweight, if you feel like you're too small, if you're dealing with illnesses, just anything that's basically stopping you from moving forward with your health and wellness, that's what the wilderness is. The wilderness is if you're dealing with anxiety because of your illness, if you are bedridden because of an illness, if you are constantly in the ER because of an illness, all these things, right? So that's the wilderness. So you have to get to a point where you're able to wander through that to get to the next level of your health. And what you want to do is take a moment to become self-aware and be honest with yourself. A lot of the times we don't want to be honest with ourselves because we're just like, well, I didn't do this. We don't really think about it. We don't really think about the things that we're doing because we're constantly going. We're constantly going. So the reason being is because, also you're usually where you are at now, with your health, wherever you are at right now is basically going to align with what you're doing or have been doing. So you want to make sure that you start. One of the biggest things that I found out that helps me, and I say helps me because not helped me, but helps me because it's a practice that you have to sustain, is writing down your habits, writing down those habits that don't serve you. So we may not, in the beginning, we may not know what habits serve us and what habits don't serve us. We may not be so aware of it. I know I wasn't when I started my journey. I was just like, whatever, I'm going to do whatever, eat whatever, stress, whatever I got to do or whatever, because, that's my life. So one of the biggest things that I did was I had to start writing down my habits, writing down. So that starts with how you wake up in the morning. How do you feel? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning, right? So I know for me, when I was serving in the military, one of the biggest things, I would wake up because we had to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and go to work out, by 5 o'clock. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So instant attitude. I'm not waking up happy. I'm not waking up with gratitude, any of that. I'm just attitude, right? So what I would do is I would have an attitude. I'm like, get my child ready for daycare. I'm like, okay, let me go get her ready for daycare, drop her off at daycare. And then I'm blasting rap music, right? I'm just like, bump this and bump that, because, I'm already waking up with an attitude. So I need to put on some music that's going to get me even hype, right? It makes sense. No, it doesn't at the time. It made sense at the time. But, so I took that energy that I was getting from myself and the music and everything was just kind of combining. And I was just, I'm attitude for the rest of the day, right? So what ended up happening is when you do that, you are literally setting your tone for the day. And if you're allowing stress to control you instead of becoming a good manager of stress, then that's when further issues arise. So it literally starts with when you wake up in the morning. You hear the saying, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but it really does. Especially those that internalize, things. I know with me, again, when I was in the military, I used to have to internalize everything. I have to internalize that because I wasn't able to lash out or say what I wanted to say. So when it came to stress, it was just like, okay, yeah, yes sir, no ma'am, saying what I had to say at work. But then in the inside, I'm just like, if I'm talking mess in the inside, I know can you relate, Nadira?
Yes, I'm telling you, there's a couple times I was like in explode moment because I think I had did a meme yesterday, and I was saying that there's lessons in some of the things that you go through, but sometimes that stress, sometimes it sneak up on you, and it'll just literally just sometimes if you allow it, it'll take over your mind, and it'll cause you to feel like it'll cause even the littlest thing to be overwhelming.
Right. Right,
Hmm.
definitely. And I know, everybody manages stress differently, or
Yes.
doesn't manage stress at all. Everybody does it differently. Some people go into this really like, sad, depressed moment. Some people lash out. Everybody, some are silent, some are loud. Some are in between. But stress can contribute to inflammation in your body.
And women, we hold it in our body. Women, especially, we hold a lot. We internalize a lot of our stress because we think as long as we're able to keep going, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just like embedded in us. We always feel like we got to keep going no matter what. And sometimes the stress, we wind up thinking that we can bypass the stress. And sometimes that stress shows up in different areas. It shows up in dis-ease and other illnesses. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
you know what that contributes to, because I have a lot of people reaching out to me currently, right now. Stress contributes to hormone imbalances.
Mm,
That's the biggest thing.
mm,
Hormone imbalances,
that's
right?
good.
Especially in women. It affects our heart, our brain, all these things,
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is, like I was saying, like, a lot of people in certain in groups and different groups are reaching out to me about hormone imbalances. And it's crazy because I was looking inside this one group, and I saw someone giving someone else advice, and it said, oh, she was dealing with hormone imbalance, and
Mm-hmm.
she ended up saying, just don't stress. She's like, yeah, you're good to go. Everybody was like, yeah, just don't stress. And I was like, that easy, right? Just like turn it off.
You found out that formula?
Just
Please help me out, because if it was just that easy, it only becomes that easy when you condition your mind to accept that it's just a matter of letting things go. To just tell a person outright, just let it go. They can't really internalize that, because if they could just let it go, then they would.
right. And I'm gonna get into how, in a minute, how a lot of people look at stress as what somebody else is doing to you versus how you're managing your own emotions.
Now that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about that also. But it's just crazy that when I saw that the young ladies are on there, they're just like, oh, just don't stress it. So people are like, it's easier said than done, and all these things. So when it comes to stress, you just want to be super careful as to how you allow others to affect you, as you said, and how
Mhm.
you see things also.
Right.
Because
Right.
once
Absolutely.
I learned, yeah, that perception of like how you just view life. I seen a meme one day, and it was a person that looked like they were stressed out and just kind of sad and depressed. And the half of the meme was the sun was out. And then the other half was, it was like raining in the woods or something and dark. And then it was just like, and the person was looking out the side that was dark, instead of turning to the left and looking out the side that had the sun. So, it's just,
Mm.
again, it's just a matter of what direction you're looking at, when it comes
Mhm.
to certain things in life. And becoming a mhm.
I wanted to say this while it was on my mind. I didn't want to interject, because you're giving some really valuable information, but I wanted to interject why this thought was on my mind. And I thought about when you said that how we don't when we manage our own emotions, manage what people do to us. What most people don't realize is that stress is your body's response to what
Exactly.
somebody else has done. That person, you ever look at somebody and you can be stressed out about something that somebody did or said, and they go on like nothing ever happened, and you're like, and you're over there you're holding all the response, and their response is okay. And I realized that when I think about how I deal with stress now versus how I dealt with it in the past, when I was younger, I dealt with stress a little bit differently, because it was for me, I had already developed a mindset where I would just roll stuff off my back. But I think the older I get, the more I start to hold on to things. I started to
Mhm.
realize, wait a minute, there's stress is attaching to me a little differently than it did before, because I'm allowing what somebody else's perspective or whatever they did to cause me to get imbalanced. And then I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, I'm holding the stress for both of us and I'm getting affected. Oh no, we can't do that.
Exactly. And becoming aware of understanding, our own triggers and our emotions are just powerful in itself, because we get to a point where we want to, get to a point where we become in control of, managing them, our emotions and things like that. So you would think that a lot of this had something to do with, as you said, simply being unbothered by someone. But I learned over time that it gets deeper than that, because it's actually about, again, your self-awareness. It's called emotional regulation, being, regulating your own emotions. And things that you could practice with that are, so if I notice, for example, if I notice that I'm getting aggravated about something, first you want to know that, okay, I'm getting aggravated about this. First, I'm going to become aware of my body sensation, right? I'm going to become aware of my body sensation. So I'm mad, I'm getting aggravated about something. Naturally, your heart's probably going to start beating, right? So you want to kind of know that, okay, my heart's starting to beat, because a lot of times we just go through the emotions, right? So rapid heartbeat, right? Next, you want to become aware of your thought process. We're aware of your thoughts, so you might get upset, you might get aggravated, your heart might start beating, and then you might, in your mindset, you might be like, well, why is this taking so long? Say you're at a line, in a long grocery line or something, so you're upset, your body sensation, your heart, you just rapid heartbeat, and the next thing you know, you have these negative thoughts. These people need to hurry up. Well, why is this taking so long? And what naturally happens after that is that's when your body language starts to reflect, right? So first you have your body sensation, then you have becoming aware of your thoughts, and then you have becoming aware of your body language, your actual body language. So you're aggravated, you're in this line, your heart is pounding, you're wondering why things are taking so long. So you're already upsetting yourself even more in your mind. And then what you end up doing, say you start tapping your foot or you're tapping the counter, So all these things just kind of spiral, But when you start to address those triggers before they spiral, and kind of stop and saying, well, what's going on? What's going on? You want to stop. So, first you're aggravated about something. You want to stop. As soon as you get aggravated, you want to, well, what am I aggravated about? Is it that serious? What's going on? You kind of want to interject so that your body sensations are not high up there and cortisol levels and, are way up here and you're flying off the handle. But in real life, that just happens very quickly, right? In real life, you're not sitting. I know when I first started doing it years ago, I was just like, this don't work. This, I don't know what's going on. I can't do it, because it's just like, it's a practice, So finally, you just want to be able to handle all those things by interjecting with some type of gratitude, some positive outlook, some positive thought, feeling. If your child is with you, maybe look at your child, laugh. I don't know. You got to do something. Whatever that thing is for you that helps you to ground yourself.
And I think people underestimate the reason why you should have remaining in gratitude, because gratitude shifts your mindset. It shifts you from being concerned with what's outward, and it puts you in a different headspace. Because when you're in an attitude of gratitude, you're not thinking about what it is that's troubling you, what it is that's stressing you. And if you start practicing it and doing it more often, then what happens is it becomes easier to change your mental state from being stressed. I think the most important thing you have to understand is stress is a mental state. And when you shift, anything, it's almost like with a person that's on drugs or as an alcoholic, right? You can't just tell a person to just stop drinking. There has to be an exchange. You have to exchange with something else. So when you're stressed and you exchange stress with gratitude, it changes the state of your mind. If you keep doing it, now you may not feel it the first time you do it, but if you really learn how to be present in gratitude, it will start to quickly shift what you feeling about whatever it is that you're stressing it out as that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Practicing, and like you said, it's a practice. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I tried it, it didn't work." I'm guilty of it. I said that when I first started, years ago. I was just like, "It don't work." I tried it. I did it already. Like not realizing that you have to continue to do it. You have to continue. So when it all comes down to, again, like understanding, being mindful, addressing those triggers, and intervening with something positive. It comes down to those four things. What I described. So at first you may not stop because you have an attitude or something happening or something's happening. But if you stop it right there before you start tapping your foot and before the thought process starts go flying off the handle, or what you want to do and how you're going to do it and what you're going to do if somebody does this to you, that thought process, which is going to cause your body language to mimic, what you're thinking. If you can stop at that first level before it gets all the way down there for you flying off the handle, that's the importance of, that's the power of it. Stopping it at that first stage. So that's a big part of emotional regulation. That's something that you can actually practice on a day-to-day basis. That's something you can do right now. Just this evening. Maybe your kids don't want to go to bed. You gotta and you gotta be like, hey, right? You gotta, that patience gotta kick in and stuff like that. So you gotta really, okay, how am I gonna handle this before you jump straight into that whole, and then you get yourself stressed out, and then cortisol levels are flying. You stress, so.
My cortisol level's already up there just thinking about it, because I do that every night.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I understand. I definitely understand. I get it. So, but it's a good practice to do. I get it. Because, with the babies, it's like you done said it 10 and 11 times. So I get it. But it's really powerful once you're able to get to that point where you're practicing it day in and day out, right? So like I said, this takes practice, just like anything else, meditation. However, it is something that you can do right now. And, and please take this very seriously. This is one exercise to help you become a manager of stress, right? Because again, you want to become a manager of stress, because stress is going to happen. Telling somebody just don't stress is not realistic. Don't stress out. You be all right. You be good. Don't stress out. It's a part of life. It's natural. That when we do stress out, we better hope we stress out sometime. There's certain things, that what they call it, the fight or flight. Instance,
because stress, it puts your mind in survival mode, and so we're all built to manage stress. But stress is only supposed to be there when your body it's like a survival mode. So if your body is always in survival mode, what happens is you literally mess up how your body is even set up. Then what happens is your body starts to get dis-ease, because it's almost like drinking spoiled milk. And then or should I say, it's like drinking milk, and then 5 minutes later you're drinking soda, and then another 5 minutes later you're drinking juice. Your stomach is messed up because you're going up and down, up and down, up and down, and then all of that mixed in stuff, all those mixed in liquids start to cause a disruption in your digestive system. Well, it's the same way with stress. People don't realize it. Stress messes with every part of your internal body and with your organs. It causes things to be dis-eased. And I think I was listening to somebody, I think it was Bob Proctor, and he was saying that, and he was talking about how when you start to get stressed, and he was saying your body goes into like fear mode. And when your body goes into fear mode, then what happens is it brings anxiety. But when your body is at peace and your mind is at peace, it's easier to operate in faith mode. And then he said, he said, then instead of anxiety, you start having faith. You start to have hope, you know. And I think that's what
Right.
happens most of the time. If you really think about the things that we are full of anxiety about and the things that overwhelm us, is because because of fear of something.
Right.
Fear is the underlining root of everything, all things stress.
Yeah. Exactly. Definitely, right? Definitely. So, yeah, like I said, it's definitely a practice. You know, don't do it one time and say it didn't work. Don't sit, you know, I've tried it a few times and nothing happened. We're not going to do that. It's actually, you know, so when you're talking about your health and things like that, I'm giving you real things that you are able to start to put in place today to start to upgrade your overall health and wellness. Now, writing down our habits throughout the day is important because a lot of times we don't even realize, you know, half of the things that we're doing because we don't slow down to even care. You know,
Mm.
you want to write down, you know, what you're consuming. How often are you consuming? When are you consuming these things? Why? And it's not just food, because when I talk to people about habits, they automatically think, oh, well, I eat this and I eat that. We're not talking just so much about what you're consuming. We're talking about consuming as far as what you're, you know, like I said, like, you know, the who, what, where, why, when. You know, or what music are you consuming? Like I said, when I was serving in the military, you know, I had a certain habits that I had, you know, that I was doing that was slowly contributing to how, you know, I was feeling and things like that. That negative emotions, the negative energy, the negative music, things like that. It was just slowly, you know, feeding the energy that I was already giving off throughout throughout that morning and leading to, you know, other things. You know, so when I say throughout the day, I'm talking about, you know, with food at this point, with food, like for breakfast, you know, are you taking your time to make your breakfast, or are you going to just grab whatever is available to you? I know when I was in the military, I would get up and I would go to Burger King, I would go to McDonald's, and I'm going to do this, and I'm just grabbing, you know, instead of actually getting up, making my breakfast and actually taking the time to prepare. Because I'm too
Yeah.
tired, I'm busy, I don't have time. Y'all
Yeah.
don't understand. Like, those are my favorite. You don't
I
understand.
think the main
I'm
thing
busy.
I think the main thing you're bringing to awareness of being present with stress.
Mhm.
Stress brings the future of what could happen, brings it to the present. So when you're present in the now, when you're preparing your breakfast or
Mhm.
doing whatever it is that you're doing at that moment, when you're present, you're only concerned about being that moment.
Yeah.
Fear and anxiety and stress has you taking things that happened that hasn't even happened yet, or
Mhm.
and bringing it to the present. So now you're not even focusing on now. You're focusing on what if, what could, what if, what if this doesn't happen? What if this does happen? It brings all that fear or that false evidence appearing real. It brings all that stuff into now.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly the point that I was going into. Yes, definitely. You know, but you guys doing all these things, they do help. You have to realize what it's doing to your mind, your body, all these things. You have to, like you said, be aware, because if you are not, I'm trying to tell you, like I tell people all the time, just because you know, I had lichen planus, right? I wasn't born with lichen planus. Okay, it didn't. I was not born with it. Anybody can get lichen planus. You know, so when people see my picture, they're like, "Oh, she got the skin disease and all, and she, you know, she overcame it. Good for her." And I'm like, "No, you don't understand. Like, you can get this too." And a lot of people, you know, they don't feel like it's you know, possible, but it really is. It
That's
really is. It
because
came
that's
from me.
because we associate certain illnesses with what we see in our family. Oh, my aunt Susie or my aunt or uncle or my grandma had that. So if we don't see that in our family, we think, oh, that's not in our family.
Right, right. So I'm definitely telling people, like, it's real. It came from me not taking care of my body. That
Mhm.
everything that people are, you know, that a lot of people are doing right now, the smoking, the drinking, the this, the eating processed food, the toxins in the body, all these things, the yo-yo dieting, all these things all these things contribute to illness in the body over time. And I was only 28 years old when I was diagnosed with this at the time in 2017.
Wow.
28 years old. I wasn't born with it. It happened within a 90-day window.
Oh,
So when I
wow.
tell you, yes,
And
it all
within
happened
90
within
days this
the,
happened?
the symptoms. The symptoms
Wow.
appeared within a 90-day window. My body was already struggling, and it's something I didn't know. My body was already struggling with it before. My
Oh,
cells in my body
wow.
were already attacked. All these things were already happening. When I was serving in the military, I was diagnosed with this, that, and the third, everything, right?
Wow.
And then once I left the military, that's when it appeared externally. Everything that I went through, it just came out of my body, and I was just like, wow. So when I tell you that, don't ever think that you can't get this, or think that do not take this information lightly that I'm giving you. Okay, definitely. But that is one method that I definitely want to just put out there. You know, definitely handling stress, super important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope you guys are really enjoying this. I mean, it's important for you to, like you said, to be able to manage the stress. Each of us deal with stress on a day-to-day basis. Is how we manage it. It determines either you're going to allow the stress to manage you, or you're going to manage it. And you are always in control of how things affect your body if you do exactly what Sharmane has told us to do today. So we're going to take a quick break. So make sure you come back and join us as we continue discussing on how to upgrade your health naturally. We'll be right back after this.
I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I wake.
Have you downloaded your Wisdom Digital Planner and Journal? If not, it's still time. Shop now at www.womanofproverbscoaching.com.
Let's go. Girl, I see you over there in the corner of the dance floor, and I know you're acting shy, looking at the corner of your eyes. So I pick my heart up.
All right, and we are back with Herbal Naturopath Sharmane Harris, and we have been having an awesome discussion in terms of discussing the things that we can do to be able to upgrade our health naturally. And if you are watching us for the first time, please make sure you put in the comments, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to be able to hear from you. If you have any questions for Sharmane and I, make sure you put it in the comments, and we'll be able to get to you either during or after the broadcast. So Sharmane, part 2, help us out. Help us out.
All right. So something else that you can implement right now is choosing to become laser focused, so that you can actually stick with the change that you're trying to accomplish, or the change that you're trying to make or desire. Okay. And it's just like, I understand, it's like, how do you, it's a choice. It's a choice. So once you get to the point where you make that choice, it's super powerful, because as a health coach, I find it even more powerful when working with individuals who hold on to their why they started their journey. If you hold on throughout you wandering through the wilderness, if you hold on to that, I promise you're going to make it through. Okay. And when I say laser focus, that means getting out of that no one is going to tell me what to do mindset. No one is going to tell me how to run my health. I've been fine all these years. I got this. In all the meantime, you're suffering in silence. So you just kind of want to get out that mindset, make a choice. Okay, I'm going to do this. Obviously, I'm going through these things. I need help. Okay, we live in a society where no one wants to be told what to do, about anything, and especially their health, because they want, that they and it's crazy, because they'll sit and look at the before and after picture of somebody on social media, and they want that after result of somebody, but that person has turned their life around completely. They made a choice. They stuck to their why, and they stuck to with it. You can't go from a before and after and like that. So one of the things, like I said, something that you can choose today is to choose you. choose yourself, choose your health. Become laser focused. That just means making a choice. And it's crazy because I've actually worked, well, not worked, but spoke with people who they're okay with somebody telling them what to do. So you don't have, that's not everybody, right? Some people are like, that's not me. Okay, but they're okay with people telling them what to do as long as it doesn't take them out of their comfort zone. And that's another big thing. People, I don't mind somebody telling me what to do, but then when it becomes uncomfortable, now you have these issues. And the way I enjoy teaching is by getting you to think first. That's my biggest thing, because so I'm not going to say so much, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's not how I roll. I want you to think. I want to get to you to a point where you understand how the decisions that you have made up to this point has not served you or has not served your health. So now that you can be more open-minded to actually learning something different. So I want you to kind of go through that thought process, like you were saying earlier about drinking alcohol. Someone is not going to come into my program and say, and I'm not going to sit up there and say, hey, guess what, stop drinking alcohol, it's negatively impacting your organs, because they're going to be like, what? No. Like, that's naturally, because
you got to have some level of accountability for yourself. You got to have some level of accountability, which is why, like I said before, is that when you think about that TV show, Hoarding, Buried Alive, Hoarding, and you think about how they're going in there and they have psychiatrists, and they have all different types of experts that are there. And I used to say to myself, why don't they just clean the people's house and just, but what I realize is, I heard one of the experts say, the reason why we have to have you involved in the process, because when you see the effects of how you got here, when you start to think about, as you're coming out of it, you're going to realize, I don't want to go back there no more. And so it's not when you think you're about to go that way, or when your habits start to try to take you back there, you're going to remember how miserable you felt. You're going to remember how many different mindsets you went through just to get there, and you're going to be like, oh no, that was just too much. I'm not doing that again.
Right. Exactly. And in order to change your mindset, you got to start with your daily habits, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So somebody going through that process, like with the alcohol example, I would literally probably ask you, like, okay, do you drink alcohol? And they'll say yes. And I'll say, well, why do you drink alcohol? And they'll say, I'm stressed out. It helped me relax. I do it because I enjoy it. And then I would probably go into, well, what are you stressed about? Or is there, I probably ask, can you think of some other ways that you believe, because it's not about me, it's about you believe that you consuming this is going to, help you in your day-to-day life, or help you relax, or help you unwind. So my job, I'm going to come in and I'm going to ask you why you believe that way. What belief, what made you believe that you consuming these things are going to help you relax and handle your stress? And I'm going to ask you, can you think of some other ways that you believe things that you can implement to relax or handle your stress in a way that's not going to negatively impact your organs? And that person might say yes, and that person might say no, or that person might say, well, who says it's negatively impacting my organs? Then boom, I'm gonna have to come at you with some facts, some statistics, some numbers, because the numbers are live. We're gonna go to CDC website, .gov, and we're gonna talk about some things, because you want to take these things seriously.
Do you have customers that are do you have clients that get frustrated when you have to take them through the process of the mind first? Do you find that they come in and they want that instant result? Just take me to the results?
Well, this is the thing. People know, like during the screening process, when I'm speaking to you, before you even come into the program, I put that on the table. This is not a quick fix. This is not an instant gratification. You're gonna have to put in some work, and they understand that. So a lot of people, if they are frustrated, they're not gonna tell me about it, they're not gonna tell me about it, because they're just like, okay, well, she said, from the jump, before I even invested, that this is gonna be a process. So You know, I don't come across a lot of people being aggravated or anything. They might, you know, they go through their detox symptoms sometimes and they'll just be like, but you know, that's something they're told
That's
about,
good.
you know, in the program. So
That's actually good because I can just imagine, you know how I felt when I detoxed. I was hangry. So I was hungry and mad at the same time. So
yeah. So, and then I might get a little bit deeper and, you know, ask questions about some other things. But, you know, with me, it's about a lot of questions and applying. Ask you these questions, we're going to dissect through it, and then you're going to apply. We're not going to ask you questions and that's going to be the whole, no, I'm going to ask you some questions, we're going to dissect through it, we're going to apply the information, you know, this new information given. But it's all about, you know, thinking, you know, it's all about self-awareness. Getting you to understand why you make the choices that you make with your health, and that involves focus. You know, I know with me going through, you know, the process, I didn't have a coach. You know, I had to literally be so self-disciplined and want change and results that I had to, you know, do everything on my own. You know, and I wish I had a coach that was able to help and assist through that process. Because a lot of people feel like they don't need a coach because of the simple fact, oh, well, I can figure it out on my own. Eat healthy, I can do that. I'm good. You're not going to stick with it,
I
though.
can give me a salad and be good.
Right. Like a lot of people are like, oh, eat healthy. I guess I got to eat salads. Like you said, a lot of people assume they're just going to be hungry. Like, you go to my program, if you're hungry, we have a problem. Like, why are you hungry? Because I'm asking why you hungry. Like, we're eating over here. So
Wow.
So yeah, you know, that's the thing. You know, we get to a point, you know, through the process where, you know, we are consuming, you know, certain fruit, vegetables, and things like that, putting the good stuff in our body. So just because, you know, you shouldn't be popping an apple over here and some grapes, no, like, eat it like it's food. A lot of people don't even look at fruit and vegetables as food. It's crazy. It's like, that's food. That's
Right.
what's going to nourish your body and make you full. You eat enough of it, you're going to be full. You know,
Right.
try eating a whole watermelon.
Okay.
You know, in one sitting. You're not going to be able to
I think that's the only thing that I think when it comes to healthy foods, we tend to be more lenient where we'll just take a little bit, but when it comes to the things that we shouldn't eat, we'll eat it with no reserves. But we're so reserved when it comes to, oh, I already had me a piece of fruit. Okay, so eat another one.
Right, exactly. You know, my mom used to say all the time, you know, oh, if I'm hungry. You want an apple? No, I don't want no apple. Well, you're not hungry then.
Well, you're not hungry. Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah,
my kids are good for that.
Exactly. Yes. So I definitely understand. I definitely agree with that point. And then ask where the nutrients are coming from. You know, like, well, if I eat all this fruit, vegetable, the nutrients, it is not coming from Chick-fil-A. It's not, the nutrients ain't coming from there. So, you know, it's just crazy how society works and you know, like, I'm not even gonna go there, but it's just crazy how the mindset works. That's
your body knows
for another day.
And your body knows what nutrients it needs from different foods. We're ignorant to what, and there's some foods that actually I was gonna say depreciate. There's some foods that deplete us of the nutrients that we need, and we don't realize that. And we just think, oh, I'm just, we think I'm just hungry, I'm just thirsty, I just want this, not realizing that certain foods are depleting your body of the nutrients that you need to function normally.
Right.
Sometimes the stress, honestly, and I'm sure you being the specialist, I'm sure too that a lot of the stress comes from too, because when people don't eat, they are stressed.
There you go. Yeah. And I'm about to get into that too. So once you decide, you want to become laser focused and understand your habits, why you're looking to change them, why you do the things you do, start managing your stress, then you want to get to the next point so things won't be so difficult. Like you said, so the stress, so we won't have so much stress. That's why we go through the habit change process. That's why we go through that whole process of the habit thing. What I shared with you was just one piece of the pie, one small piece of the pie, but we go really, really, really deep, and just because you go deep doesn't mean you're rooted. We go deep and you become rooted. You want to make sure that the things that you're doing are sticking. And now I'm able to say, once you go through that process, now I'm able to say, well, increase your fruit intake, increase your vegetable intake, increase your water intake. If you are consuming 3 meals a day, cut it down to 2 meals a day, replace your regular milk with other milk, things like that. I'm able to say these things to you without you, oh my gosh, I'm able to give this advice and tell you why it's going to be beneficial to your health journey without you feeling so pressured and stressed. You have to get out of that I'm not willing to do this mindset. I'm not willing to do that, and start telling yourself you're not willing to allow toxic foods to negatively impact your health. Tell yourself you're not willing to allow stress to cause, hormone imbalances in your body. Now you're walking around not understanding why you're spazzing out on your spouse, the kids, the dog, and the neighbor. Like you. I've been there, so I'm like, man,
and the neighbor.
And I understand, and I believe another reason why we have that mindset of not, willing, is because we can't see the light at the end of the wilderness. We can't see the light. When I was going through my journey with my condition affecting my skin, I had convinced myself at one point that I was going to look like this forever, and that's what it was going to be, and I was going to be okay with it. I got to a point, and I have people, that reach out to me now, and they're just like, well, I'm probably gonna look like this forever, so it's fine. And I found that that's called convincing yourself that you don't see another way out, that there is no possible way out. And I'm like, look at me though, I've done it. I've helped other people do it, so you can do it too. You can achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve. Don't sit and say, oh, well, I'm just okay with being the way I am. I'm okay with illness living in my body. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
You can't be okay with that. That's not something that you're going to want to live with. And I remember coming up with every reason in the book why I wasn't going to get better. That was mistake number one. And you don't want to do that. I made a post on my Instagram one day, and it said, okay, because a lot of people were like, why don't you just tell us what to do? When I first came out with my, journey and my story and things like that, and I was posting my pictures and stuff, like, why don't you just tell us what to do? Why? Because it was hard. It was like, well, I did a lot of things, like it wasn't just 1, 2, 3. I did a lot of things. So I made a post one day, and I said, okay, I'm going to tell you what to do. And the post said, stop drinking alcohol, stop drinking juice, stop drinking soda, stop smoking, stop stressing, eliminate all dairy and eggs, eliminate bread and gluten, eliminate meat, and shall I go on? Now, the average person listening to that or reading that is going to be like, what? The average person is not going to be like, is not going to stick with that, because of the simple fact you've taken too much away from them.
Right.
You're taking too much away from them. And that's what I call having a diet mindset. When you get to the point where their mindset is going to be like, no, I'm not doing that, because, everything in the world has gluten in it. What am I going to eat? Twigs and berries? That's why people that are vegan, they have such a negative, outlook to them, because people are, well, where you get your nutrients at? Well, do you eat? Well, what do you eat? Things like that. And it's just like, what? I eat what you eat. I just have different ingredients of what I eat. I'm eating burgers and things like that, but it's just not with meat in it. You know what I'm saying? It's just the outlook, the perception, and it's crazy, because I'm just like, man, but you can't shell shock people like that. You can't, because they won't even start, or they'll just assume that all I do, I have people that think all I do is eat salads all day, or all I do is eat fruit all day, because that's what
that's what I used to think. Before I really understood like the and been around other people that actually have, when I look at recipes, I'm like, wow, is that really healthy? Like, oh wow, because I thought I used to be, I never really was a big steak and ribs type eater. I did like it, but I was more, I was more of a chicken eater, chicken. And so I was almost like that lady on My Big Fat Greek Wedding, when she was like, what do you mean you don't eat no meat? You go to somebody's house and they be like, oh, we don't eat meat. What?
You're right.
So meat is, it is tough, because most people don't feel like they have a solid meal unless they have meat included. And so when they incorporate it with, I'm not going to get full. Or so they say, well, if I eat vegetables, I had a friend of mine that's all he did was eat healthy, but he ate a lot more since he ate healthy. He ate more during the day because I used to be like, dang, he always eating. And he said, Nadira, I eat a lot because when you eat healthy, you eat more. And I was like, well, dang, but he was eating like fruits and, he had salads and his salads looked good. It wasn't like, just lettuce and tomatoes like what some people put. I've seen really healthy salads. And I think when we are exposed to new information, when we're exposed to new things, we start to see things in a different light.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Just learning, that learning process, So when people are asking me, questions and things like that, I often, I give it to them so they understand that, so it doesn't feel unrealistic to them, accomplishing that goal, accomplishing what they're trying to accomplish. I break it down so it doesn't feel unrealistic. And this is exactly why I tell people the transformation happens through the experience, but you can't experience anything if you're too busy around, sitting around waiting. A lot of people wait. I have heard so many people say, oh, well, I'm just going to wait it out, the illness out. I'm just going to wait it out. You can't wait it out. You have to push it out your body. You have to remove it. You have to take control and remove it yourself. So instead of waiting, what you're doing is you're allowing your health to deteriorate slowly when you wait. So you have to start one step at a time instead of looking so far. The reason a lot of people have anxiety and they don't start and they sit around and wait is because they're too busy looking over here, feeling that they have to spend the rest of their life dealing with the condition that they have. And you don't. You really don't. Identifying those things that don't serve you and replace them with the things that do serve you, right? So first, going through the process of cleansing, detoxing, and repairing will help, off top, that's going to help. Some ways you can start to expedite the cleansing process, though. There's some things that you can do right now during the cleanse is first eliminate what you're able to eliminate. And if you find that you feel like you're not able to eliminate anything, you might want to figure out your relationship with food and understand that you have a food addiction. Because if you're like, nope, I'm not giving it up, I don't want it, I have to have that, I have to have it, you probably got some parasites in your body and things like that, and you're allowing, and that's what I'm saying, like, if you allow food to control your emotions, it's a deeper problem. If you're walking around, saying, oh, well, I have to have it, but I don't have this, like, you have a straight attitude when, certain things, or you got, it gets to a point where, I'm going to say this, it gets to a point where you shouldn't allow food to control, food to control your emotions, if that makes sense. You don't want that. You want to be able to, because I'm going to say, everyone gets an attitude, when they don't eat, I guess, people get attitudes when they don't eat, but people get certain attitudes when they don't eat certain things too, when they're unable to have access to certain things. And that's when I'm like, that's a little excessive, but that's called a food addiction. And they are very real. They are very, very, very real. So, you want to eliminate what you can at that time.
And that's really lack of self-control. When you don't, when you allow the things outside of you to control you, that means you have lack of self-control. You cannot, and we all know what happens when you don't have self-control, then you do everything. It doesn't just happen in one area, it happens in a lot of other areas. So I think when you figure out why you have a difficult time resisting a certain type of food, then you have to look at what other area of my life that I have lost control of, that I feel like, because most of the time when we feel like we can control that, we can control what I want and what I don't want in terms of food, but I may not be able to control the life circumstances or whatever it is that I'm dealing with. So you're not going to take this from me too. Right. So you're right, it is a deeper issue, and you have to, and I think that's what's awesome about your program, is that being able to go through those things and figure out the things that are, because our actions are not, we don't just do things just because. Our habits are, we form habits, based on different things. And so if our habits are, if we don't exercise self-control in the areas of our eating, more than likely we don't have self-control in other areas too.
Exactly. Thank you. Because I was over here like, I was saying, But definitely, if you have a sweet tooth, consume fruit. If you're one of those people that have a really bad sweet tooth, fruit is nature's candy. So if you have to freeze some blueberries or some raspberries or dehydrate some strawberry, I don't care what you got to do, but consume your fruit if you have one of those people that have a really bad sweet tooth.
I had that time. I had that last night. And I don't usually, I haven't had a sweet tooth in a while, but yesterday, I don't know. I was like, I want something really sweet. So it's funny you said that. They were frozen strawberries and blueberries. They were in the freezer. And I said, I'm going to eat me some strawberries and blueberries. So now I feel good because I was like, but it's funny because when you start to eat it, you realize your proportion size gets lower because then you're like, well, I'll just eat a few of these. You won't eat like if you had those cookies. Like I've been doing good. Like I got these
Oreos gone.
And I've been doing really good. I've been sitting here with these cookies and I'm like, I had a desire for them, but I say, no, I'll just take something different. And I'm loving the fact that as I'm gaining self-control in areas of my eating habits, it's starting to affect me in other areas of my life too. So
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Very powerful. Yeah. So if you got to do a smoothie or some frozen fruit and things and what you just described, that's a perfect example. You're fueling your body. You're not feeding it.
Mm-hmm.
Feeding it is just when you eat whatever. But then when you're fueling it, you're actually thinking about, okay, I'm gonna put this in my body and it's going to provide my body with nutrients, minerals, and all these things. It's not going to go to my colon and break down as waste.
And then when we stay up too late too, when you stay up late, that makes you, I notice that I eat more when I'm up. When I don't rest, I'm hungry. That's why I try to put my kids to bed. I'd be like, yeah, I got to go to bed because if not,
exactly.
They stay up the extra hour. Yep, they'll start saying I'm hungry. But I notice when I start to feel and it's late, I try not to eat after 7:00. But if I start to feel like, oh man, I'm getting hungry, I'm getting snacky, I'll just go to bed. Because that's the only way. And my stomach will growl while I'm sleeping. But I was like, you know what? It's because I'm up, especially when I work late. I work late when the kids are asleep. But if I start to get if my stomach starts growling, I'll be like, it's time to go to bed. Because if not, I'm going to wind up eating something that I'm going to probably regret it in the morning.
Right. You want to give your body that window to cleanse and stuff like that. So yeah, that's perfect. And like I said it before, your stomach growling is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Definitely we look at it as a negative thing and say, oh, well, my stomach's growling and I need to eat, put something in my stomach, but you shouldn't, so that's awesome. Another thing that you can do right now today. So if you have a sweet tooth, consume fruit. The second thing, start by replacing cow milk with a different type of milk. And the reason I say that, I used to not tell people that. I used to not want to, get too deep and be like, oh, well, don't eat. I didn't. But cow milk are for baby cows. Cow milk has pus in it. It has pus in it. It's not good for bone growth and all that stuff we were told when we were older. It's really not. It has pus in it. It's from a cow's udder. A female cow's udder. Like it's from their udder. Like it's not. It has pus and all that stuff in it. Like if I actually sat here and broke down the parts of a cow that we consume that we're just like, oh, it's good and all this, it's really not. You do not stop. But there's so many other milks that you could try. There's so many other milks that you could try. You got an almond and oat and all these other different types of milk. You can make your own milk, all these things. I break all that down in the course, but stop drinking cow milk, or replace cow milk with some other type of milk, okay? So you definitely want to start there. But cow milk, that leads to so much inflammation in the body, drinking cow milk, and so much other illnesses. Wow. It causes excess mucus in the body, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't want to do that. Just like when people get sick and you go to the doctor, and the doctor will tell you to not consume dairy. Like a lot of they do say that. A lot of doctors do say they will say stay away from yogurt or stay away from milk if you have like a sinus infection or something, because all it's going to do is make it worse, and that's the reason for it. Cow milk has pus in it.
What do you think about oat milk? What do you think about oat milk?
Oat milk is fine. Oat milk is fine. Yeah,
I love oat milk. I love it. I I had some similar issues with I was drinking almond milk, but milk has a lot of sugar in it. And so my girlfriend, I had went to Dunkin' Donuts one day, and I said, they had a sign and they said oat milk, and I was getting a latte. And I said, I want to try the oat milk. And I really, after I started drinking it, I really started to like it. So I love it. That's the only kind of milk I'd buy. Even my kids love it, which I was really amazed, because I didn't think that, you know how kids are. They, ugh.
Yeah.
But, you know, because it looks like skim milk, but it's actually really good.
Yeah, oat milk is really good, and that's funny that you said that about almond milk, because a lot of people don't even read the back of an almond milk carton, you know. But it has some chemicals in it that shouldn't be going in the body. You know, if actually people sat and read the ingredients and actually looked up what it does to the body, yeah, it's really not. I think you went on mute.
Yeah, that was I had to go. I had to talk to my little cow over there.
Okay. Got it.
I was trying to not make it look obvious. I was like, you know,
no, you're fine.
You talk about cows. I'm like, yeah, I'm over here messing with my kid.
So you're not another thing you want to do is start moving your body. Start moving your body, walking, running, yoga, stretching. Okay. So this is the thing about that. There are people that are dealing with chronic illnesses or chronic health conditions, that if their body, because what happens when we work out, our body produces an excess amount of, you know, different hormones in our body when our heart rate is up and blood get to pumping, the heart get to pumping, all these things, right? So what people dealing with certain illnesses and things like that, working out can actually make their condition worse, right? So actually, because of the hormones that's being produced in the body when the cortisone levels are up and things like that. So if you are one of those people who have gone through that or are going through that still, because what they have to do is go through a process of purifying their blood and getting their hormones back regulated.
Is that why people run? Is that why people who find out they have different conditions, they, you know, and then all of a sudden they just drop dead? Or they die? Because some people I noticed lose weight and they work out, and then all of a sudden something happens to them. I'm like, I'm confused.
Yeah. So some people, so sometimes that can happen. You have people like, so for example of that, somebody who would be dealing with like PCOS, that's a hormone imbalance, right? So, or, you know, I'm not gonna say diabetes, because a lot of people that suffer with diabetes are overweight and have to lose weight. But so for example, like PCOS, somebody dealing with PCOS, like if they start working out and stuff like that, because the insulin resistance in the body is different types that affect the body different ways. So it's it's kind of like diabetes. The body's overproducing, underproducing, or a little bit of both, right? So you just want to be careful when you're, you know, telling people certain things. But this is for people just in general. You know, general health and wellness to upgrade your overall health and wellness. I don't want to get too deep on this call, but that's, you know, just want to kind of be careful, you know. So in case you are dealing with something like that, like PCOS or some type of illness where your body is not producing certain hormones and things like that, or producing too much of one hormone and stuff, you still want to move your body. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. You still want to do some type of stretching. You still want to do some type of yoga. You don't have to do anything extensive, but still do something, right? Because you don't want to stay stagnant. And that's how a lot of blood clots and things happen, you know, when we're sitting in one spot too long and things like that. So you want to move your body, you know, definitely for sure. Another thing that you can do, start drinking room temperature water, spring water or distilled water in the morning. Start drinking with lime juice, and or take some key limes and squeeze it. And the reason for that is because most of our bodies has excess mucus. So mucus in our body serves its purpose, yes, but you know, when it's excess mucus, when you're getting sick constantly, you can see it trying to come out of your body. So maybe through, if you have a sinus infection, you can see the mucus coming out of your eyes. If you can see mucus coming out of your stool sometimes. You can definitely feel it, you know, the congestion in your lungs. Like people dealing with COVID, they have a lot of congestion and mucus and stuff in their lungs, especially when you have an excess cough also. So things like that tell you, listening to your body, that's telling you that you have excess mucus in the body that's not contributing to your health. And then one of the lime water is going to help you remove that, thin out that mucus. Basically, it's going to help you thin the mucus out and begin the cleansing process. Remember, I said it's three processes: the cleansing, the detoxing, and repairing. A lot of people think that just drinking lemon water is the whole shebang, the cleansing, the detoxing, the repairing, but it's really not. It's a part of the cleansing process. It's going to help, but it's not going to help if you are consuming, if you're doing that in the morning, but you're consuming more mucus promoting foods. So you want to be very careful of that. And one of the last things, increase your green intake, increase your to produce chlorophyll in your body. Water, it provides you with water. It provides, the importance of greens is to provide you with oxygen in the blood, right? So cucumbers, green peppers, greens, dark leafy greens, parsley, kale, cilantro, all those things, right? So you want to start consuming those as much as possible also. And before I end, I would really, really real quickly want to go over some of the things that I spoke about, so y'all can have a chance to write them down to upgrade your health and wellness journey. Okay, and these things are a great start. They are a great start, and I guarantee you, if you start, then you're not gonna fail. You're not gonna fail because it's gonna become a habit. So one of the things I said was practice better habits, right? So bad habits contribute to illness. So you want to practice better habits. You want to write those things down. Becoming a good manager of stress. Stress can irritate inflammation, right? It can cause further inflammation. Working out, physical activity, walking, running, yoga, bicycle, something daily that's going to help you to help your stress levels. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you're doing that. Not having those limited beliefs and understanding that you are able to get better. Your body is able to repair as long as you put in the work, right? So kind of overcoming those limited beliefs that make you have you stay stagnant. Knowing the importance of the cleansing, detoxing, and repairing the body. I speak about that constantly in previous videos, okay? So constantly consuming foods that make you worse, or thinking that you can just switch what you eat and you'll be good to go. And that's why a lot of people, they switch what they eat, but they still are suffering with certain illnesses or suffering from being overweight and things like that, because they still have the waste in their body. So understanding that process is super important, and going through the taking the time to invest, to learn more, so you're able to go through that process is definitely super important. Another thing is increasing your water intake. I said that distilled water or spring water. Increasing your vegetable intake with the dark leafy greens. Increasing your fruit intake. If you have that sweet tooth. Understanding your relationship with foods and beverages. Understanding where your food and your beverages are coming from. Understanding how your food and your beverages affect the body. And then most importantly, understanding that health is a process and a journey, okay? It's not a quick fix. It must be addressed internally as a whole, okay? So if you are ready to begin that journey and you are tired of waiting, and you're tired of trying to figure it out, and you're tired of guessing, and you're tired of just dealing with illness, make sure you reach out to me at www.healbynature.org so we can help you go from dealing to actually healing, right?
I don't know about you guys, but I have been really enjoying listening to this every time Sharmane comes and actually educates us on ways that we can improve our health through our habits and pushing out detoxing, cleansing, and repairing our body. I always leave out with something new. So if you guys appreciate the wonderful education and free education, I add. Make sure you guys visit her website. Go to her website, www.healbynature.org, and set up a discovery call with her. Let her help you get back on the path to eating and having a better lifestyle, because it's not just about just eating certain types of foods. It's about developing a lifestyle. And this is what she does. This is what she spent her life work doing, because she had lichen planus. And if you haven't had dealt with some of the illnesses that she had, then you may not really fully understand the effects that it may have taken on her mentally, physically, and even financially, because when you're sick, it costs you financially also. So make sure you guys visit her. Go to her website, www.healbynature.org, and just sit down with her and let her discover a plan. And it's not too late. You might think, well, I'm overweight, or you might feel like it's too late for me. I'm this age, or I'm that age, or I've already developed these bad habits. Ain't nothing gonna change. You can make a difference. You just have to make the choice today. As long as you're living and you're breathing, you still have a choice. You still can change certain habits that will contribute to your lifestyle later on. So thanks, Sharmane, for joining us here in the Wisdom Clinic. I am so grateful that you guys have joined us here on Tuesday. Make sure you join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. and you will continue to get all this wonderful value. If you found value in the information, give us some feedback. Let us know in the comments if you found value with the information that we've been given. We love to hear back from you. Make sure also, guys, that you join us on Friday with Sisterhood Check-In as I welcome my guest, Kayla Cravett, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I wake.
Have you downloaded your Wisdom Digital Planner and Journal? If not, it's still time. Shop now at www.womenofproverbscoaching.com.
Let's go. Girl, I see you over there in the corner of the dance floor, and I know you're acting shy, looking at the corner of your eye.